How do I stay on track whilst traveling without coming back 10 pounds heavier, all bloated, and my habit rather, and my diet by extension in a complete and utter mess? Here's what I do, and I think actually the first piece of advice I'd have on this. So the question, how do I actually stay on track? Well, what does on track mean to you? To me, on track means calorie success, not quality of nutrition success. I think a lot of people go away, or especially when they're new to this way of eating, and they're like, well, this means that I've got to do every meal home cooked and no oil. And how am I going to make sure that every dish has some dark leafy greens and some berries for the antioxidants and the omega-3s and the correct amount of carbs, protein, fat? I already accept that that's never going to happen on a trip. And it depends, right? If you're in an Airbnb, you might have much more control, but this isn't the case for most of us in these kind of real life moments. And so for me, I already kind of give up the ghost on any idea of like perfectionism or any notion that I'm going to copy and paste my meal plan from home when I'm back in the UK, or when I was in Dresden a month or two back, when I did Asia for 6 months last year. No way is that going to happen. And so to me, just being on track means caloric success, and that means scale weight and physique success. And of course, that's not a long-term view, because it's not actually the best health view either, because it involves the manipulation of my diet that I'm going to talk about with less than clean food. So this isn't, again, perfect, but I'm just giving you my framework for what does on track mean, because I'm not going to go away and do, as I say, the whole foods plant-based checklist textbook, like yes, never going to happen. So I just get over that and I manage my expectation right away. Second piece of advice is, if it's a short trip, I don't try and be perfect. So last week I was in the UK for 4 nights, 5 nights. Dresden was just 2 nights. So Nuremberg, forgive me. I just treated like, meh. Do I need to be on track for 2 days? I know I'll come back and get to my routine. I've got that self-trust from years doing this now, and I just love the way I eat the vast majority of the time. So coming back, that's no burden to me. There's a few cravings initially, but that's no burden to me. I know I can do it. If it's a longer trip, I've got a totally different set of standards. Does that make sense? So that's another kind of mental shift that I like to use. So short trip, not too worried if it's just a day or two. If it's a longer trip, then I do have standards and expectations, and I do want to do more kind of wiggle room stuff. So that doesn't mean I won't have indulgences on a longer trip, but I feel like I hold myself to a greater standard to kind of manipulate my diet more to allow for those indulgences. So that'd be step number 2. If it's a short trip, different mentality for a longer trip. Number 3, I account for those extra calories. This is what people don't do. They just go wild. They get off the leash. You're either perfect at home or you're off the rails away. That's not how I like to do things. I like to have my little almond croissant. I like to have that vegan afternoon tea. And I actually calorically account for it. What do I mean by this? Something else has to give. I'm always talking about this with my clients. All right, you've got this meal out coming up, and we know that it's a 3-course job. What are we going to do? Something's got to give. Okay, we'll skip your afternoon snack today to shave 100 calories there. Oh, let's do a slightly lighter breakfast than usual to shave some calories there. Oh, let's do an extra 2,000 to 3,000 steps. All of this compensatory tactic stuff, this is how we do it. So we account for the extra calories. And this is what I mean when I'm always talking about built-in flexibility, not additions, not cheating on your diet, not blowing your diet, not binges, thousands and thousands of calories. You can have this stuff. Like I had vegan afternoon tea, I had the spicy margs, but it was accounted for. It was built in. And so in those 5 days in the UK, I only had 1 day. I estimate, and there is guesstimation in this, so it's not perfect, but I estimate there was 1 day where I actually went into a calorie surplus in 4 days when I had all these little cheats. Step number 4, high step count is the great equalizer. In those 4 full days, 5 nights, however it worked out last week in the UK, I did 2 home workouts, 2 strength workouts. But most of my activity, which is not a lot for me in 4 or 5 days, but I did lots of walking. I averaged 14 to 15,000 steps, which is pretty effortless when you're exploring. Especially in Europe, I'm going to museums. I was hanging out with family. I went to a country house one day, a couple of walks here and there. When I was in Cambridge, we were walking around all day nonstop when I was catching up with friends, etc., etc. So just walk. Now, a high step count won't compensate for binging. And again, you still might be eating poor quality food. So there's a question of what's happening on the inside. But again, That is something that's more important to me with my home diet than the couple of days per month, per year, whatever, however you judge it, that I'm away from home. So that's where I don't care as much about nutrition quality. Just being honest, I'm not saying you need to live like this. I'm just here to share my framework on the Fit with Ryan Adams channel, like we've been doing for 6 or 7 years. This is what works for me. This is the question I always get. How have you still got abs when you're doing all of this, Ryan? It's a small percentage of my diet. It's all accounted for. And there's still lots of activity. So I'm burning at least some, maybe not all of those excess calories I'm eating. So yeah, high step count, it's the great equalizer. Step number 5, I still have rules, right? I still have rules when I eat out. So even though you see lots of the deviations, you'll notice there were salads. So I had that lovely avocado bean salad that I found in an English pub somewhere. I was amazed. It was delicious, a little bit oily, but delicious. And I had, what was that Whole Foods thing I had in Stamford? I forget, but some nice butternut squashy kind of, again, it's very Whole Foodsy, high fiber content. And we know there's invisible calories there, hidden dressings and oils, etc., etc. But I'm still selecting when I eat out lots of whole food options. So yeah, every now and again, I'll show you my afternoon tea. But honestly, guys, I think you know this if you've been following me for a while. Most of my meals out, they're pretty non-indulgent. We're talking poke bowls, we're talking sushi. Again, some things in there that I wouldn't use at home, maybe again the oils and the poke bowl dressing. But generally speaking, very, very clean. For meals out, at least, I'm not having burgers. I'm not having afternoon tea. I'm not having spicy margaritas. I hardly drink alcohol most of the year. Most of my meals out, there's still rules and there's still structure. So maybe you set the rule that, okay, I'll have my main meal, but no starters, no desserts, no booze, whatever anyone offers. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm not sharing, bread and hummus with them. I'm just having my main meal. Or if I do, I only have one piece of bread. I know I'm sharing, so I know they'll have the other, etc. Again, these are the no dessert, no this, no that. Have my fruit in the car just in case when everyone else is having banoffee pie. I've got my bit of fruit in the car that I know I can look forward to. I know it's not the same, but on the drive home. So there's still rules for eating out. Number 6, I've kind of already covered this, but it's still directionally very Whole Foodsy. So I've talked a lot about the meals out, even a couple of the good meals out I had in the UK. But I also had some delicious soup. I think it was pumpkin soup, if I'm not mistaken. Again, all of this on my Instagram. I also had, my father made this amazing veg curry, and I had naan bread with it. Well, I wouldn't usually have because that's a calorie bomb. Very oily, not particularly healthy, obviously, but I didn't have rice, so I picked one or the other. And so calorically, again, in check with an otherwise very Whole Foodsy, no oil meal. We had the soup. Again, when I ate out, sometimes I had the salads. I had lots of fruit on this trip. I had my plant protein powder. I took my plant protein powder with me, which is a bit excessive. And again, I wouldn't do this for a shorter trip, but slightly longer trip, different rules, as I said, going back to whatever it is, tip number 2, tip number 1. And I did my plant protein sludge with apple slices, loads of fruit. I ate loads of fruit actually on this trip, so that was really good. Loads of fruit and veg, just a few deviations around those things, but still very Whole Foodsy directionally. And that is really my mantra wherever I go in the world. It's still directionally Whole Foods, and most of the time I'm going to try and pick the most Whole Foodsy option. I don't have to be perfect. If I was perfect, yes, maybe my blood work would be 5% better all year round. Yes, maybe I would be 5% leaner all year round, but no, I'm really happy with my physique. I'm really happy with my current health status. And so there's a question to ask ourselves, I think, internally on what's good enough for me? What passes the test? And it's still quite real world and practical. And that's what I've landed on for me personally over the last couple of years. And there's the 5 or 6 steps that really help me travel and stay in reasonable shape. If you do want the kind of plan, structure with the right sprinkling of flexibility that I've just spoken about here, that you can follow no matter where you go in the world, in theory. There's always challenges, but no matter where you go in the world, this is exactly what I help my clients build, of course, inside Slim and Sustain, in the same way that I've been fortunate to do so with this incredible nutrition approach over the last 10 years or so. If you're interested in learning more about the brand new message-only program, if you haven't heard the word, we've removed the calls from the program to allow me to offer Slim and Sustain now at a significantly lower rate because there's less demand on my time. It's still one-on-one accountability with me directly. We just don't have the coaching calls, and because therefore it's slightly less demanding on my time, I think it's only fair that I reduce the rate there. So if that interests you, you can fill out an application for that below, and I'll get you all the details for the message-only program today, so you can get more info about that in the link below. Hope this helps you out.